Genuinely, what does this dude think he's doing? Trump has not even taken office yet, and he's already threatened to invade 3 separate sovereign nations, which tells me the next 4 years are going to be long. See, before Trump won the election, Republicans en masse were threatening to invade Mexico, or implying that they were going to have a military invasion into Mexico to solve the fentanyl problem. And then immediately after Trump won, he forced Justin Trudeau down to Mar-a-Lago and made jokes to his face about Justin Trudeau being a governor of a 51st state of America rather than the prime minister of his own sovereign nation. I mean, MAGA supporters will say this is a joke, but this is not diplomacy. This is not peace through strength. This is being a reckless asshole. And today, Donald Trump made a post about the Panama Canal with a U.S. flag right in the middle of the canal. Beyond the fact that, like why is this flag just in the middle of the water? I want to talk about the implications of this, what Donald Trump means and the MAGA reaction. For example, you guys may have heard about this Twitter account named End Wokeness, one of the most insufferable Twitter accounts because they're constantly screaming, Trump is not a fascist, stop calling him a fascist. You guys are the real fascists because fascists threaten the media and invade territory. Well, End Wokeness, that is exactly what Donald Trump is doing, and just look at these tweets. So in January of 2024, they said, bring back mean tweets and world peace. Everybody wants world peace, but it's not that simple when you have countries like Russia and China. But he's saying bring back mean tweets and world peace. And then just today he posted, we have 2 years left to bring this map to life in time for our 250th birthday. And it's a map of the United States also claiming the territory of Canada and parts of Mexico and the Panama Canal. Jesus, this is, and you guys see the problem here, right? Like, they are absolute gaslighters. They will say repeatedly, we are not fascists. We don't even flirt with fascism. But the second they win an election, they go completely mask off. And let's break this down a little bit beyond just talking about how bad it is. The rhetoric of invading sovereign territories next to us reflects a dangerous mindset. It's antithetical to the norms of diplomacy, the norms of international cooperation and democracy, and threats of this nature coming from someone like Donald Trump, coming from a global superpower. It could signal unpredictability and disregard for global stability. And really quickly, just to break down the significance of the Panama Canal, which Trump has been relentlessly tweeting about, and I'd like to show you a video of him in a few minutes. I know you guys hate to watch videos, but this is very important. The Panama Canal is one of the most critical pieces of infrastructure in global trade. It connects the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean and enables efficient movement of goods worldwide. So over 12,000 ships pass through the canal annually, making it incredibly important for international commerce, to help keep prices at ease, which is what Donald Trump claims he wants to do. So just think about it. A threat to the canal is not just a threat to Panama in particular, it's a threat to global economic stability. It impacts countries across the world, across the Americas, across Asia and Europe, and it jeopardizes trade routes. So I don't know what Donald Trump's strategy is here. Sometimes I can see what he's going for when he says this crazy stuff. I can see that he's trying to scare the enemy or use a negotiation tactic, but what is a tactic here other than signaling instability and a lack of diplomacy? And just from a political science perspective, threats of invasion undermine the diplomatic relations that we've spent decades building. They reduce trust on the world stage, and a lot of America's power comes from this implied trust, this implied power that we have. Of course, we have a super strong military, but a lot of our strength comes from soft power, not just military influence, but the ability to attract and influence other nations through our culture, through our values, and trust and diplomacy. So rather than just using hard power or threatening a military invasion, we can use soft power to gain trust, to build relationships, and other countries know that we will step in when they're in need. So for example, something that Trump did the other day that actually made me like, woof, I'm so glad about this, is he said he plans to continue to supply weapons to Ukraine. He says that he will continue to supply weapons, but he says this is contingent on other countries in NATO upping their spending related to their GDP to 5%. 5% of their GDP, which is a crazy number. That is a crazy ask. But I'm going to tell you guys what the exact intention here is. It's really simply just the anchor technique in negotiation. He's been writing about this since his book in the 80s. What you do is you make a crazy ask, so crazy that the other person comes in with a lower ask, but that lower ask is exactly what you want. So for example, the other day, I was trying to buy something for my new apartment. I was trying to buy a new couch. And let's just say, for example, the couch costed $1,400. That wasn't actually the price. But I went to the guy and I said, I will buy this today for $900. Of course, that's a little bit of a low ball, but the dude came back and said, you know, I can't do 900, but if you're gonna buy it today, I can do 1,100. So right there, I got a massive discount because I made a crazy ask off the bat. And of course, this is gonna make people mad. People are gonna be saying, why are you sane washing Trump? I'm not sane washing him. This is the reality of the play he's making when it comes to supplying weapons to Ukraine. He's trying to strong arm other countries into allocating 5% of their GDP rather than 2% of their GDP. And we can break that down further, but the broader point here is you can at least see what he's trying to do there. I honestly don't know exactly what the play is here, other than just using fascistic rhetoric to weaken our alliances on the global stage. Because again, diplomacy relies on trust. It relies on predictability, and thirdly, it relies on mutual respect between countries. So by randomly threatening an invasion, not only one invasion, he's threatened like 3 invasions over the past month, the United States risks being perceived not as a bully. I mean, we've bullied other countries in the past, but just as reckless. We're like the drunk asshole at the bar who you really can't trust, and that just hurts our ability to form coalitions or negotiate effectively. So it's kind of funny how Trump's actions are counterproductive to his goals. He sees himself as this massive master negotiator or whatever, but he only ruins our standing on the global stage by being a terrible negotiator. Let me play this clip of him talking today, and he just looks old.
It's such a terrible thing is happening. The Panama Canal is considered a vital national asset for the United States of America.
He sounds drunk in this. He's slurring.
Due to its critical role, American economy, the whole world economy, it's a disgrace. Our Navy and commerce have been treated in a very unfair and injudicious way. The fees being charged by Panama are ridiculous, highly unfair.
You know he didn't write this because he used the word injudicious.
Treated in a very unfair and injudicious way.
That was most likely the first time Donald Trump has ever even heard that word. But again, just to step back, the pattern of these threats points to a broader issue among Donald Trump. It's not just a one-time misstep or some weird blunder. This is his approach to global politics. This is a consistent approach that he takes that disregards the principles of diplomacy over and over. It undermines every single alliance we've built without a solid end goal. It damages the nation's reputation. It weakens our ability to address problems that may pop up because we are no longer trustworthy. And yeah, just to outro this, America's leadership has historically been built on the ability to foster cooperation and build trust among nations. After World War II, which was the bloodiest conflict in human history, all of the nations came together and said, how can we create a sort of coalition to prevent this from happening ever again? To prevent the world from breaking out into such chaos ever again? And we came up with NATO, and NATO has worked. We have not had a world war we've had wars, but we've not had a world war like that since World War II. So NATO has played its role, and you even see that when Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, and then NATO came together, coalesced, and helped protect our sovereign ally. And meanwhile, Donald Trump wants to screw over NATO. Donald Trump wants to bully NATO, and that's not effective leadership. Leadership requires measured diplomacy, a commitment to stability, and being able to think more than one step ahead. Like Jesus, man, be able to think more than one day ahead. I'll leave you guys with that. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.